Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here for the Public Facilities Committee meeting. For the record, I would like to thank Legislator Scudder, who's not here, for acting chair of the last two January and February meetings. So thank you to him for that. We are a committee of three as of right now. That might be changing shortly with the addition of one, hopefully not the subtraction of any. We were given the minutes. Can we have let's call this meeting to order and let's have the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, great. We're going to open this up with the privilege of the floor. If anybody wants to address the committee, now would be the time. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go right into our agenda. Item number one was a tabled motion from last month authorizing a memo of understanding with NYSERDA to conduct a feasibility assessment for the development of utility-scale solar renewable energy project at the Dunkirk Airport. Is anybody here to speak to that? I know that was spoken at length last month. And hearing, seeing none. Okay. I did, for my committee members, did talk to Pierre, and he had indicated to me that it was tabled for a committee review, an energy committee review, and had their approval forthwith, and was desirous of us, or certainly approving of us of moving that forward. That's about the length of my information that I have. I know it's a tabled motion, so we need a motion to put it from the table onto the floor for final approval if we opt to do that. I would recommend that we do.
I'd just like to comment to the attorney who works with the airport. It just informed me that. Could you talk into a microphone? I'm sorry. I'd like to check with the attorney who represents the airport very quickly, if I could, because he had just informed me that this resolution was just going to die. It wasn't going to be brought back out to the table. So if I could just take a moment and get additional information on that.
Yes, definitely. So let's do that, and if we want to revisit that later on in the meeting, we certainly can. So make sure we have everybody on the same page with that one. Thank you. Okay, so then, curveballs aside, let's move to number 2 on the resolution, acceptance of a CARTS public transportation grant. And if you could give us your name and title, please.
Yes. I'm Michelle Westphal. I'm the Senior Project Coordinator at CARTS, or CHQ Transit. I am here today asking for acceptance of our 5311 grant from New York State Department of Transportation for our mobility management program in the amount of $173,623. It is funding for a mobility manager. It's at a rate of 80% federal, 10% state, and 10% local dollars. And the local dollars is in-kind service because the mobility manager is housed at CARTS Transportation. So we cover the in-kind with housing her at CARTS with, the computer and electric and water and such, and my time supervising.
Thank you, Michelle. Questions for Michelle at all on that?
No.
Is this expected to be an ongoing grant?
Yes, we get the 5311 grant usually every 2 years.
Okay, and is it always used for the mobility manager?
This
is
yes.
new?
The 5311 grant we get for a lot of different things. For whatever reason this year, the contract is trickling in separate. Last month I was here for something else. I don't remember what the contract was for. This contract is for Jen's position, who I brought with me. She's up there. She's been in the position since 2012. So yes, we put in for her every 2 years and
Okay,
get
so
the
it's-
grant.
So it's not a new position?
No.
Okay.
And prior to her, we had, I believe, 2 other people in that position.
okay, great, great. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the committee?
No.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed and carried. Thank you,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Appreciate that. Are we ready to revisit the conversation we had 3 minutes ago?
We absolutely are.
Okay.
So I have learned that NYSERDA has sent a revised MOU and is willing to come to speak to the legislature about it next month.
Oh. Okay, so then, my understanding is we are going to keep this on the table. It will automatically die because of that, and then that action by NYSERDA will re-engage us next month. Does that sound correct?
A new resolution will be pre-filed.
Okay, perfect.
It'll be on the agenda.
Okay, so then we will, thank you for that, and my new understanding is we are, if the committee agrees, we are going to take no action on the tabled resolution.
I agree.
Okay, let me sign this. Pass that on, thank you, sir. Okay, great. Item number 3 on the agenda, authorize agreement for New York State DOT for performance of federal aid project. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Give
Drew Rogers, Deputy Director of Public Facilities Engineering. The DPF contracts bridge painting through New York State DOT federal aid program on an annual basis. The federal aid program provides 80% federal funding, 15% state Marchicelli funding, and a 5% local fund. This year, DPF will contract for 2 bridges for painting with the expected total of about $400,000. Of the $400,000, $320,000 would be federal funds, $60,000 would be the state Marchicelli funds, and $20,000 local funds. So this resolution would provide that commitment to the funding and authorization to execute the agreements and move the project forward.
Perfect, thank you, Drew. Any questions, comments, concerns for Drew?
What bridges have they decided on? We have a bridge on Webster Road in Pomfret and a bridge on Brownell Road, Clymer.
Clymer? Perfect. Anything else? Anything else? I have nothing. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew. The item number 4, authorize an extension to the agreement between the Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District and the Village of Fredonia for sewage treatment services.
Matt Olbeck, Director of the Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District. The resolution is to extend the current contract. The contract ran out in December. We started negotiations around October, and we aren't really getting anywhere with them. We pay them quarterly, and we're coming up to the first quarter, and we would need to pay them. Obviously, they treat our sewage. So we're just asking to extend the contract, I believe, to the end of the year. Hopefully, we can get this resolved before then. Currently, we're paying them $3.08 a thousand gallons of sewage, and they're currently asking for quite a lot more than that. So that's where we're at.
That's the holdup.
That's the whole.
Okay, that was my question, is if
Yes.
it was just not a lot of communication, or if it was a negotiating.
No,
Like-
we've been back and forth, and then So the first of the year, they started out with a new mayor and several new board members. So that's another.
Okay,
So we had to bring them all up to speed also.
understood. Okay, and so it's just an extension of the current agreement for 12 months, or until, I believe, an agreement is in place, is
Till
what it says there. So
yeah, an agreement
is
is reached, yes.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Do we want to do it the full year? Do we want to do it till the second quarter? That
The
way if
board
something comes
asked
to
to do it
compromise?
for to the end of the year,
Okay.
just in case. I mean, we presented it to them,
Yeah.
mentioned it to them. They haven't said whether they're willing to sign it or even, or
Okay,
what.
yeah, you're talking about this, what we're discussing right now?
Right.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. Kristen's got it.
all right.
I'll just mention that per the resolved clause, this is passed with the understanding that the district may come back with a resolution looking for a retroactive price change
Okay.
once this has been settled. The idea is the district doesn't want to not pay them anything. So it's really a good faith effort
Right,
to move it forward.
Yeah, okay, good point, good point. All right, thank you for that. Any other questions, comments, concerns for Matt? Seeing and hearing none, thank you for that. All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
And opposed? Carried. I believe you're probably sitting there for number 5 as well.
Yep.
The proposed resolution, item number 5 on our agenda, amend a resolution confirming user charges for the Portland Pomfret Dunkirk Sewer District. All right, take it away, Matt.
So, the last rate increase was in 2019, and the board has looked at couple different ways. Right now, they are charged a base fee, and then they're charged on their water usage. The board did look at going to a flat fee, similar to the other sewer districts, but it was met with much, people didn't want it. They're summer homes, and they didn't think a flat rate was fair. So with that, the board went back to the drawing board, and they believe the district is three different user charges. There's 2 portions of the district that are older, so they charge them currently $110 per quarter for the base rate, plus their water usage. The board did some figuring, as did Kathleen back, but when she still worked here as the budget director, and then the board came up with they would like to increase the rates by $42 per quarter. So that would take 2 of the sections up to 152, and 1 would be charged $142 base rate.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, concerns there at all? You feel that's workable?
Yeah, I mean, there was a public
Comparable
hearing.
is probably a better word in that question?
There was a public hearing on both
Yeah,
rates, and nobody was opposed to a rate increase. They were opposed to going to the flat
to
rate.
the flat, okay, okay.
so-
Fair enough. Anything else for Matt on that? All right, thank you for that. All in favor of that proposed resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed and carried. Great. Thank you very much. Making good progress here. Number 6 on our agenda. Reallocating salary grade for bridge construction supervisor and carpenter. Is anybody here to speak on that at all? All right. For the record, please give us your name and title, if you would, gentlemen.
Drew Rogers, Deputy Director, Public Facilities Engineering.
Lex Brummagem, Engineering, Engineer 3, DPF.
All right, what are we looking at here, gentlemen?
So really, the next three resolutions kind of all go together. So the DPF operates with two bridge crews. We've got one out of the Faulkner shop and one out of our Sheridan shop. And the bridge crews perform, obviously, bridge reconstruction, rehabilitation, repair, and respond to any defect flags that we get from New York State DOT on bridge inspections. And the current crew makeup is a road construction supervisor, two carpenters, and a skilled road maintainer. And they work with Lex pretty hand in hand. And so the issue that we've been having the last several years is getting employees to kind of stay within the bridge crew. And we've had, in the other thing associated with that is when the employees are on the bridge crew, there isn't that clear path forward for them to move up through the ranks on the bridge crew. So that leads to a lot of bouncing around, for a better term. And that brings up some safety concerns for us. Because as I mentioned, without that path forward on the bridge crew, in order to go promotional, the employees have to leave. And even when it comes to the supervisor of the bridge crew, one would have to leave the bridge crew in order to then come back and be the supervisor of the bridge crew. So what we were proposing to do is to kind of restructure the bridge crew a little bit. We have two existing titles, which would be the first resolution, the bridge construction supervisor, and the carpenter title. The bridge construction supervisor title hasn't been used 2007,
At
maybe.
least 10 years.
It's been a while. Not really sure why that fell off. And, well, it went to the road construction supervisor, which, based on the existing grade of the bridge construction supervisor, was of a higher grade. So we're proposing to, like I said, make a different crew makeup, reutilize the bridge construction supervisor title at a grade 17, which is a little step higher than the current grade of the supervisor. Add an additional senior carpenter. That's a new title on one of the additional proposed resolutions. And that would be a position that would be working with the bridge construction supervisor, act as supervisor in the absence of the bridge construction supervisor, and is the more experienced carpenter on the crew. And then with the carpenter is the existing title, keeping those duties the same, but having an increased a grade on that position as well. And then the final position that made up the bridge crew is currently a skilled road maintainer. It's a grade 8. This is the position that really had a lot of turnover on it. So what we're proposing to do there is add that as the carpenter trainee title, which would allow somebody to move up into the carpenter position after 2 years serving in that position and gaining that experience on the bridge crew. So all told, the goal of these is to try to keep the bridge crews working together, give the employees that opportunity to move up through the ranks on the bridge crew, and really create a better safety climate within the bridge crew by keeping the experience together and on the same, being familiar with each other, working on the same projects. Anything to add?
I think that's pretty much sums it up. We've just had a lot of turnover in the last few years, and it's really unfortunate the way the system is now. In order to become the RCS2, which is the bridge construction supervisor, as it is currently, you can't be on the bridge crew. You have to leave the bridge crew to come back to be the boss of the bridge crew. So we had a number of people that had to leave, and then that left an opening, and then Sheridan shop, we've been very fortunate. We've had a crew together for a number of years there. But the Faulkner crew and with the last 3 bridge supervisors never worked on a bridge crew. And so that became problematic to have somebody supervising people that they didn't really know what they were, didn't have the experience in it. Not that they didn't have supervisory experience, but they didn't have bridge work experience. So we're trying to make a clear path to somebody who wants to do bridges and has a path to stay on there and incentivize it and retain them. And the other thing is, you know, I've been here for a while, and we had a lot of experience that has retired in the last 10 to 15 years, and a lot of new people, which is fine, and a lot of good workers, but we've lost a lot of expertise, and sometimes safety becomes an issue as well when you have inexperienced people out there. So we're trying to make a clear path forward, you know, incentivize it to retain that knowledge on the bridge crew, but also at the bottom, create a trainee position. We had a lot of turnover right at the very bottom. People start as a skilled road maintainer, they're on the bridge crew, and honestly, all they're looking is any upgrade would be to get off the bridge crew. So we're having trouble keeping somebody on there that would then get the experience and stay there. So it's been talked about before in the past, and now we finally worked together with HR and the union, and everybody's kind of on board with this, and so that's why we're here today.
Okay, appreciate that, guys. Questions, comments, concerns from the committee? Or for Tim?
I think
I'm sorry, Tom.
budgetarily, I think we can do this within what we have budgeted for this year, so it wouldn't affect the budget at all either.
Okay.
That was my question.
Okay.
This is a reallocation, it's not adding anything to the budget.
Not for this, no.
Not for resolution 6. Would the trainee position add? That'd be the next resolution, I think.
Yeah. For this year, for sure for this year, we can make work within our existing budget, and we could probably continue to do that going forward, just by,
Yeah, okay.
you know, reallocating a little bit. and
Yeah,
keeping
good
some
question,
positions.
certainly. I had a couple of questions here. Were any of these, the committee was given the drafts, which I assume are the final drafts of the job descriptions. Are they new, or are some new, or were they all carried over from previous years? And if they're new, how does that work for drafting? Does HR come into that? And the union, I think Lex actually mentioned a little bit about working with HR there.
Yes.
I was just curious how that process works.
Yeah, so the bridge construction supervisor is an existing title
Okay,
that we had used in the past and hadn't used for a number of years. So that was reviewed, and we came up with a reallocation of a new,
okay.
a different grade.
I see that.
A higher-
Yep, I see that right
a higher
there.
grade.
Yes.
And that was the same with the carpenter position. And the carpenter position is currently used and occupied. The other two, the senior carpenter and the carpenter trainee, were new titles that we worked with Human Resources, also met with the union through the process, and came up with the duties and, you know, how we felt those positions would work within the crew. The carpenter trainee title is very similar to the existing skilled road maintainer. It's the same grade. It's not really anything different, other than the fact it gives you that opportunity to continue up that carpenter line
Yeah.
that can work your way up to the top on the bridge crew.
So it's almost like a retention tool as well as safety
Yes.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. And I'm taking from the conversation, I don't even want to hazard a guess, 4 to 5 on a bridge crew, is that? a
Oh,
rough-
yeah,
or is
sorry,
there
I
a
should
lot?
have given you that. Yes, there's, we'll call it the foreman position.
Okay.
2 carpenters and a skilled road maintainer is the current makeup.
Okay, okay,
So we're talking those 4 positions.
gotcha. I just didn't know if there were like 3 or 4 in one position, and it was more than I was imagining there. Okay, thank you for that. And no pushback from HR? I mean, they're good with that, they're sitting here today, I'm sure if they
Yeah.
weren't, they'd be saying something, so, okay, good, good. Other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, I think you, took care of describing all three resolutions to us, do you agree? I mean, I don't think there's, so I was just going to get approval 1, 2, 3, if that's all right with you, unless you want to pause on the other two items at all, if there's anything
don't
else
think
to
so.
give to us on those. All right, so, committee, for the first proposed resolution, item number 6, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. And I should probably read them out. Number 7, proposed setting salary for the carpenter trainee position. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. And number 8, setting salary for the senior carpenter position. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
description there and working that for us. We appreciate that. The committee has one agenda that was on our table when we came in. It's a late resolution for public facilities, amending the 2024 budget to implement the PPDSD project using funding from ARPA. Is anybody here for that? All right. Tell us what we have, name and title again.
Matt
please.
Olbeck, Director, PPD Sewer District.
And for the record, this was not the first time the committee's seeing it. This was sent to us a couple days ago. But what are we? Give us a rundown here, if you would, Matt.
So during well, first of all, the public hearing notice that went out to the users stated they would not go on with the I&I project unless the project received 25% grant funding. When the figures were entered into the application for funding, they didn't enter the full amount. Somehow they messed up and got a little bit different figure. So they were $3,750 short of the 25% grant funding. So that's why we're asking for the ARPA funding, so we meet that 25% grant funding for the I&I project.
Okay, so tell us about what is about the I&I project.
The I&I project is to fix inflow and infiltration in the system. It is clay tile, pipe over there, and most of the project would be cured in place, lining the pipe, not digging it up and replacing it. The project is $1,612,000. And when, I hesitate to say who, when the engineers who did the application for us entered the wrong number somehow. Not to their fault, they did it for us for free.
Mm-hmm.
They did not charge us to enter the application, they were doing it to help us out, so.
Nope, I understand that. And for the record, we're talking $3,750 here. That's the
Right.
difference of moving it over. And that's what the resolution is. Anything else for us by way of description for that?
I don't think so, Kristen, do you have anything you wanna add to that? That's,
I'll just, I think Matt explained it, but when these pipes are, how old is the system? Some of it from the 40s or whatever?
some of the major problems over there are from the 30s and 40s, you know, the system.
Yeah.
And so when these pipes are compromised, they're damaged, this can be raw sewage flowing out, and that's not what we want. So, Matt and the board are looking at getting this remedied, and they have successfully secured grant money and also a 0% interest 30-year loan. So this is a real success story there, and this will close the gap to make sure that they can proceed with the project.
What was the total cost of the project?
$1,612,000.
Yeah. So this is
They forgot to
pretty
It's a small
It's
district.
small.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 511 users.
yeah,
It's, we're hoping to get some more grant money, but
sure,
Mhm.
sure. Any other questions, concerns, comments from the PF committee? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Matt, thank you very much.
thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask Tim to come on down just for some FYI items for the Public Facilities Committee, if he would. No action to be taken, just some updates.
Hi, Tim Card, Director of Public Facilities. The first thing I want to let everybody know is the Carts Hub. I know we're all wondering what's going on there. I had a meeting with them last week, and May 1st, construction will start at the Carts Hub downtown, so that's a good thing. The second thing I had was the salt shed in Sheridan that we had some damage to back in January with a windstorm. The cost of replacement of that shed is $160,000. And the insurance is going to pay $52,000 roughly, and then our $25,000 deductible, which will be met. So basically, what we're looking at is around $38,000, which we will use in savings from this winter's salt that we have not used. So I just want to kind of bring everybody up to date on that. Okay.
Good.
The third thing I have was just, I just want to ask, questions. I have some information here I can let you guys read as I'm going over this. Is when we were preparing the budget last year and what we received, we're about 1.3 million short of what we asked for. So what I was looking to do, a discussion with PJ, and just wanted to run it by you, was to, from the fund balance, to replace 2 plow trucks, and I'll go into more detail here. 4 road sweepers that we currently have that are over 10 years old, and 2 shoulder machines. As far as the 10-wheelers go, this is a replacement plan. This is not anything extra. This is not anything new. This is equipment that we currently have that, is getting to the point at the end of its life. So as far as the plow trucks go, usually what we do is, we sell them on Auctions International, and usually anywhere between $15,000 and $30,000 is what we get as far as revenue that comes in when we sell those. Okay. The road sweepers is something that we use daily in the summertime, especially on our surface treating crews, to keep things safe. The cost of those, a new one is $76,000, and we have 4 of those. And I know they all have close to 5,000 hours on each of them, and we have replaced head gaskets on 2 of them already. And those will sell anywhere between, I would say, around $20,000. Okay, and again, those are already 10 to 11 years old. And then the last 2 items we're asking for is 2 shoulder machines, which we use for all summer. And what that is, it's a machine that helps put gravel down on the shoulders of the road where we have drop-offs and, we need to fill in with gravel. And our plan would be to get two new ones. And then these 2 older machines, one's a 96 and one's a 99. With our own forces, we could redo those 2 machines and make one. And then that would give us a shoulder machine at each shop in each district. Okay. So that's what I was kind of looking for, asking for, that total cost is about 1.2 million.
So you had, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So you were talking for this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other problem is now with equipment. I mean, some of those ARPA trucks that we've ordered, I mean, it's a year to year and a half to 2 years before we see this equipment. You know, so the longer that we keep going without and ordering and doing, the further and further it puts us behind going down the road. It's just the way that industry is.
So you had mentioned, and I think you have a bullet point there in the, under the wheel plow trucks, 2024 capital funding was cut, allowing only 2 trucks to be purchased. Is that what you started with, the 1.2 or the 1.3 you were mentioning?
Last year, we put in for 2.3 million, and they only gave us $1 million for equipment
Okay.
for this year.
So educate me if you would. I'm sure everybody else here is aware of the process. So what would be the process before it comes to this committee for approval? You mentioned you talked to PJ.
Yep, and I guess maybe, Kitty, can you help me? Because I've never been through this process before either, to be very honest, Travis. I just wanted to bring it before committee first and see what your thoughts were, and maybe Jen can help too.
Well, I mean, I guess you're seeking some pre-approval, so to speak, to bring forth a resolution amending the budget by $1.2 million by utilizing fund balance. There wouldn't be other funds available for something like that unless maybe we wanted to, if it's heavy equipment, we could propose a issue of serial bonds, but it would need to be an amendment to the budget.
And that is done by a couple of committees.
Would just be
I'm sure
like
as well.
any
Resolution.
resolution
Yeah.
that would be pre-filed and it
Okay.
would come to your committee and it would go to audit and control.
I guess I just didn't want to bring that before you, and,
Blindside us.
With a surprise, yeah.
yeah, I didn't want
Yeah.
no surprises,
Well,
you know what I'm
we certainly
saying? And
appreciate
that's,
that, yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I'd rather be honest and upfront,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is my thoughts, and
Yeah, and we certainly understand, and probably, we had this discussion in Clymer every year. It's like, guys, I'm not buying anything new, I'm just replacing what's 20 years old. you
right,
know,
and that's
so-
what we're,
yeah.
you know, this, again,
So
this
I
is
get that, so,
nothing that we don't currently have, we're
Yeah.
just looking to replace old
Okay.
equipment.
yeah.
Is there a market where you can buy? I mean, you said we sell our old equipment. Can we buy used equipment anywhere that might be better than what we have?
These specific ones, probably not. I mean, these, you know, the trucks are the trucks. I mean, they're ready to go. You know, they're, 13-year-olds, 15 years old. I think our
Yeah.
oldest now is a 10 and 11. So,
I'm with you on that. With this type of work, I wouldn't want to buy anything used anyways.
right.
But, is there any like details, like laid out prices? Any idea of what you're paying for?
Yeah, an average truck is around $300,000 for a plow truck.
That's
Okay.
uniformed.
But you have that in writing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we could provide that.
Okay.
And then the sweepers are $76,000 roughly on a piece.
Yep.
And then for the 2 shoulder machines, it's approximately $275,000.
Okay.
For both of them?
What's that?
For both of them?
Yep.
Yeah, for both.
Together.
Yeah, for both.
175.
Roughly, yeah, 125 to 150,
And
275.
those plow trucks are 300 all uniformed?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and maybe this is a question for Kitty, if it is able to be fund balanced, is there a certain threshold that it either needs to be bonded if it's over a certain amount?
No,
that's up to
it's
us,
just
the county.
it's a prerogative of the legislature
Okay.
how they would like to fund
Okay.
that. I'm just telling you what the options might
Yeah.
be. For heavy equipment, we have in the past issued serial bonds, so then the cost of the equipment is amortized over multiple years. It's still, the upfront, or, if there was interest in utilizing fund balance, but there's not $1.2 million surplus elsewhere in the budget right now. It's way too early in the year to know how what we might project our variances, to say that we would have any other way
Yeah.
to
Okay.
if you're talking about $50,000, I'd say don't worry about it, but we'll figure it out. But 1.2 million, yeah, I wanted a little more reassurance.
No, that's fair, so, okay. Other questions, comments?
Do you have any plans, like life expectancy, on how the vehicles, I know when we were at the town always liked to do every 20 years, and that would alternate all the vehicles so they weren't all over 5 years old.
Yeah, I think the trucks, you know, their average life is about, 10, 15 years on the plow trucks. You know, like I said, these shoulder machines, one's a 96 and one's a 99, and these road sweepers are, they're 10 years old, and I know we have replaced head gaskets on 2 of them already, and, it gets to the point where sometimes it's costing us more to keep them than it is to replace them,
Well, and that,
And maybe we can sell them now while they still do have a little value compared to when they're totally scrap. That's why we have the replacement. I mean, again, this is the replacement program that we have in place that,
Yeah. Yep. Understood. Anything else for Tim or Kitty? All right, you talking to any other committees with this, Tim?
no, not yet.
Okay, all right.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, do I need to go Thursday to audit control, or do I just wait and put it through as a resolution now? And
I mean, I don't know audit control, it probably wouldn't hurt just to get in
Okay.
front of it a little bit.
Sure.
But that's, that's up to you, or you can reach out to that chair as well, just to, but we appreciate, knowing this, and that's good information there that you gave to us, so thank you very much for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thanks.
Does the committee have anything else before we adjourn? All right, let's take a motion to adjourn the Public Facilities Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marcus. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dalton. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose and carried. Thank you all very much.
12:43.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
You're never gonna attend me if you call me at 9 o'clock. I was on the phone with Marty and Scar the other
a
night.
legit question.
And then I called the